Warning, the following podcast is off its rocker. Two people out of control, soulless, with microphones. You've been warned. You're on your own. Welcome to the podcast that no one asked for, but you're definitely gonna stay for. The Blunt Rectum, a.k.a. the TBR podcast. Yeah, the word rectum is in our name. So that means when you say it, it's in your it's in your mouth. Hosted by two completely unqualified but wildly opinionated small business owners. We've got the marginally charming Lance and the one and only Kevin Bacon. Yes, the guy in the pig mask and glasses. Hey ladies, imagine him down there looking back up at you. Hot. This is the show where nothing is off limits. Politics, Hollywood, and everything in between. We've got commentary so sharp it'll cut your Wi-Fi connection, and humor so sarcastic it could probably offend a rock. We want to enlighten you while making you laugh your ass off, or at least roll your eyes so hard you sprain something. So grab your popcorn, pour a stiff drink, and hide your wives. This is TBR, the Blunt Rectum Podcast.
Welcome everyone to the inaugural episode of the Blunt Rectum, a podcast where we will do a deep dive into stuff that's just too hard to swallow, and hopefully come out the other end with a straight shot of truth. I'm your host, Lance, the guy who always poke around where the sun doesn't shine. And folks, I'm thrilled to introduce my co-host. This guy's, he's been a buddy of mine for what feels like an eternity. We shared laughs, we shared some tears, and more than a few questionable life choices. He's large in stature, larger in personality, and let's just say when he enters a room, well, the furniture starts to sweat. What the real kicker is, protect his anonymity, this wild world of podcasting that we're kind of kicking the door open on. He's going to be wearing a pig mask while we're on the air, while we're doing this podcast. So yeah, you heard that right. He's got a full-on swine disguise, basically. But because nothing says incognito, like looking like you're about to
bastard.
Like what?
Like a big fat bastard.
I was about to say like looking like a homicidal bacon commercial. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, or hooves rather, for my long-time pal, enigmatic, porcine mass mystery man himself, Kevin Bacon.
Hello.
All right. So we're just gonna kind of kick things off. A little bit about us. This is the inaugural episode. Myself, small business owner, done several small businesses, from property management to motorcycle shops. Kev here, he's got his own small business as well. He's a family man, which is why he's wearing the pig mask. But we're both pretty outspoken when it comes to things that are that just don't sit right. That's kind of in the public eye where everybody can see what's going on. So we wanted to start putting our opinions out there. If it picks up, people like it. Hey, great, subscribe. We'd love to have as many people listen as possible. But other than that, we just thought it'd be a great idea to start being another voice out there that people can try in silence, but in the long run, freedom of speech. So, and we're free to put our opinions out there, and we're going to do that. So that's why we are the Blunt Rectum podcast. I'm the original a-hole. My name is Lance. I'm the host, and of course, Kevin Bacon. So we're going to dive right into it here and see what we can get into. Today is September 20th. You're probably going to be watching this a day after. And it's been approximately 10 days now since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. It's been some really difficult times for the country here recently. Let's see what's trending out there at the moment. See, we got We got lots of Charlie Kirk stuff going on, lots of things talking about, pretty much everything that's going on. Let's take a look, though, and see what's trending out there. Let me share my screen, and we'll just jump right into some of the craziness that's out there. So, Kev, how things going on your side of the world?
Shitty.
Is that just because you're rolling around in your own shit, or what?
Pretty much. It's a tough life being a pig.
It's a tough life being a pig? Man, we may have to do something about that mask. It's kind of muffling your voice a little bit.
Okay. I'll try to speak up a little bit.
Yeah, you may have to there. All right. So what's trending out there in the world? We've jumped right over to Twitter to kind of check things out. If you're not following us already, we are now on Twitter at the Blunt Rectum. More than welcome to follow us on there. We'll be throwing our bitty feedback and banter on there as well, of course. Right off the bat, now Charlie Kirk, of course, is the biggest thing that's going on right now. Kev, what do you think about this whole Charlie Kirk thing? Do you think, there's a lot of misinformation going on out there right now. I've been seeing a lot of stuff online where they think that it's a whole government setup. They think that, of course, it's more leftist than anything, but they think that, Trump basically had a plot and plan to assassinate Charlie Kirk to try and, make his platform look better overall with his administration. What's your thoughts on that? What do you think?
The first time that the government has done something against the citizens. There's quite a few things in the past, like Operation Northwoods. Just so much that's been done. We won't ever really know what's going on. It is kind of a crappy situation, but we just gotta see what we can see and form our own opinions from hopefully good evidence that people are putting out. And that's one of the good things, is that there's so many people that were there at that site that have different videos and different viewpoints. So you got to be able to take a look at everything and form your own opinion.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things out there, is being able to form your own opinion. And I see so many people that are just not doing their own due diligence. They're not doing any research themselves. And I see all these conspiracy theorists saying that there was, a different angle for the shot. I mean, here's one right here. Oh, no, that's one of those AI-generated videos that have been going around. Let's see.
Yeah, they were saying that he was shot from the right, from the left, from up underneath.
It's all over the place. And he was he was literally sitting inside of a little canopy with a tent that had a back to it and had a top to it. He could have only been shot, realistically, from either the side or the front. He could have been shot from the back, and there's a lot of conspiracies out there that he was shot from the back. In fact, there's some that are out there saying that he was shot from basically like a manhole, some type of plumbing pipe that was there behind him, and that he was shot through the back of the neck through that. Some are saying that he was shot from the roof, and the bullet went from the back of his neck out the front. Basically between his legs. There's so much misinformation out there. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And apparently I didn't bookmark the one that I saw earlier, so I'm just trying to...
Yeah, good job, dickhead.
What's that?
Say, good job, dickhead.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to receive a compliment from someone who's just so aspiring, such a model citizen as you. Which, by the way, really got to talk about this pig mask. I know you're donning this thing to protect your identity, but this thing is actually pretty scary. I'm glad there's not going to be any kids actually watching this podcast, because you might actually give them nightmares with that thing. You were walking around your house with this pig mask?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, my wife, she loves it.
Hey, listen, whatever you do in the bedroom is between you and her. I don't need to hear that shit.
We play that game. Squeal like a pig, boy.
Yeah. So we've got, there's so much misinformation. Big Dolbowski here.
There's even one video from the side where there's a gentleman in the background who he actually raises his hands, just his hands, when he makes the movement like he's shooting. Have you seen that one?
I have.
That is super crazy. almost like he was saying, if I was the shooter or if I wanted to kill, Charlie Kirk, I could do it right here. Boom, boom, boom. And then he gets shot like directly after that.
Yeah. And the conspiracy theorists were just going to town. I'm not going to actually play the video. It's just too graphic. And I've seen it too many times at this point.
Who's that guy? Is that the guy that lost his job?
That's the guy that lost his job because he was sitting there talking
tears
smack.
For you.
There's the whole conspiracy that this guy here was doing hand signals and actually signaling for someone to take the shot.
Oh yeah, I used to get those calls from my baseball coach. That was the indicator, and then when it was coming next, have a whole forearm slap, and you have the Macarena coming up.
Yep. The conspiracy theorists. I mean, this quite honestly, this one actually got me. This one, and I was totally bought into this. I saw the shirt lift up after watching the video multiple times. I saw how it kind of lifted up to the side, and I was like, you know what, that kind of looks like bullet fragmentation. Maybe the bullet did hit a vest, because that's what the conspiracy theory was. He was wearing a vest, it hit the plate, the bullet fragmented, and it was a piece of shrapnel that hit him in the neck, and that's what caused the shirt to kind of lift up there. That's basically been debunked at this point, that it wasn't bullet fragmentation from a vest because he wasn't wearing a vest. And at this point, what they're saying is that the line that was showing there that looked like it was essentially a plate that was on an actual bulletproof vest, comes to turn out that line was actually the cord for the microphone that was clipped on his shirt collar. So, and this guy here is even saying it was his microphone and earpiece while pulling up on his shirt, just from the sudden jerk reaction. So, a lot of misinformation going on out there. There's also the theory that he was shot from behind, went through his neck, and then hit the ground in front of him. And honestly, I actually saw a camera view where it did show the side camera, the side profile, and you could actually see the dirt, kind of fly up in front of him. Was it dirt or dust that kind of flew up from the ground in front of him in that side profile view? So it did look like there was a possibility that maybe somebody was not that good of a shot, and we'll get into that in a second. It did look like there was a possibility of that, and maybe they hit the ground and it ricocheted off the ground and then hit him in the neck. We don't have all the details yet, of course, so we can only sit there and hypothesize exactly what happened. But I shoot 200 yards without a problem, and I'm not a sniper or anything like that. I mean, I go to range day, no problem. The gun that this guy shot with was an old Mauser 30-06, is what we found out. I know personally, I've shot an old Mauser 30-06, and those things aren't accurate until you hit 100 yards. If you try and shoot anything with 30, 40, 50 yards and you're using the sights that are on them, you're going to be shooting like 6 inches low. And I took a deer out actually with an old Mauser 30-06, and I used iron sights, and I was probably 60 yards away, and it was no problem. This guy had a scope on it. Now, 200 yards, is he going to be like pinpoint accurate to where he can hit a carotid artery on the side of the neck? Not a chance in hell. Nobody. I mean, at 200 yards, special operations, special sniper, yeah, they could probably do it. They could probably hit within, a 1 inch, 1 inch, inch and a half target. But to actually hit, the carotid artery on purpose, no. This guy that took the shot, he was probably aiming for a headshot or aiming for like center mass. He was trying to get something that was going to be spectacular for the cameras. And, the bullet just happened to hit the guy and hit Charlie Kirk in the neck.
Well, one of the other conspiracies is, what if it never even happened? And they just, had a blood packet so that way Israel wasn't out after them, to get them.
Yeah, like the whole blood packet when Trump's ear got shot. Yeah. I didn't buy that one bit when they were trying to say that nonsense. Plus, I mean, an innocent life. I mean, a family man. When Trump got shot, the bullet missed him and ended up hitting the gentleman there with his family. I don't buy that one bit. There's no conspiracy to try and to try and up Trump's ratings or anything like that. That was just, somebody was trying to take Trump out. That's all it was. And then you get these insensitive things like this. It's just ridiculous. A man lost his life. A family man with wife and 2 kids lost his life, and we're posting nonsense like this. No, not we specifically, but people are out there posting nonsense like this. And this guy, reach heaven by violence at Mr. Penis. Seriously? Now, granted, I know I'm being a little facetious here with a name like the Blunt Rectum, but that's just insensitive as hell. And I'm pretty insensitive myself. I mean, I'm a bit of an ass. Yeah. As Kevin can attest to. Let's see, Charlie Kirk assassination. Yeah, quite a few things there. Let me jump over here. Kev, what other topics have you been seeing jump out there? I hope that sound effect was from your mouth.
Yeah. The gun violence and the political assassinations is I'll take that one for 400. Yeah. There, Lance.
Yeah. Well, I'm just bringing up our list of hot items here today because for some reason it got closed out on me.
Or even the vaccine mistrust.
The vaccine mistrust. I mean, that's been circulating back around again, especially with Robert Kennedy doing all the changes that he's been making. I will say that's been it's been a bit eye-opening with some of the things he's been bringing into light. He's now switched things over to where essentially you need to see a doctor before you start the whole vaccination protocol for your kids. And I'm all for that. In fact, that's where it should have been to start. But the fact that there's just so much misinformation out there about it, it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, like, it's not a one size fits all type thing. So there are people that'll have adverse reactions and just all kinds of craziness to the vaccines and the shots that they're wanting to give people.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I think is pretty crazy is how, Bill Gates said something prior to COVID where we have to do something in order to help the population. And then this comes up and now people aren't able to get pregnant. There's percentages and all that kinds of crazy things, where just stuff's happening and it's actually taking the people down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say, just the politicization that has taken place just across the board, whether it's the murder of Charlie Kirk, and that's what it was. I mean, it was murder and assassination. It wasn't a plot. I highly doubt it was any type of government conspiracy or anything like that. People that are, thinking along those lines is just, they probably need a reality check if they continue thinking that it was some type of conspiracy, especially when we've got, a person that's in custody. We've got text messages from the person. We've got group chat from the person where they're, basically being called out for it and tried to play it off. But the text messages themselves, where he's sitting there talking back and forth with his, his live-in transgender boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it a boyfriend because that's what it is. All of that nonsense. You've got all of it, and you literally got the prosecutor in the courtroom sitting there saying it was his political radicalization that is, the driving force behind why he, ended up trying to assassinate Charlie Kirk, or did assassinate Charlie Kirk, I should say. So for people to sit there and come up with all these conspiracy theories and the mainstream media trying to say it was romance, he was driven by young romance, and that's why he went. Seriously, for anybody to go and do that, it's absolutely ridiculous. They're just so detached from reality. And to blame it on young love, I mean, it's the most. I mean, who was it? Was it Montel? Yeah, it was Montel that went and said. Montel Williams went and said that it was young love. Yeah, my ass. It was not young love. That's just.
Didn't Montel Jordan have a song about young love? That's who I thought you were talking about, Montel Jordan.
Yeah, I don't think Montel Jordan's got a dog in this game whatsoever.
But that brings a good point, though. Like, where's the mental health help for a lot of this stuff?
There isn't. It was like back in the late 80s or early 90s, they did away with like a lot of the mental health hospitals where you had like the state mandated mental health stuff. They did away with that. It was something that got passed through Congress or at the state level. I'm not sure what it was, where it was. I'll have to do some research on that. But yeah, I mean, there was people that just truly, honest to God, needed mental health care. Do not have the money to support treating themselves or any of that, and they needed state-funded mental health care, and they don't have it. And because we have just closed down all those mental health hospitals, people, which granted, there were some questionable things that happened, at the onset of mental health care, electroshock therapy, things of that nature. But there was some good to mental health care. So, I mean, there certainly needs to be more mental health care out there. Quite honestly, there really should be like some court-ordered, court-mandated, people actually being put into the mental health hospitals. You see,
and the crazy thing is that your local cities and governments, like, they talk a big game about how, we try to do this and we do this and there's these different programs and there's this and that. But like when it really comes down, they're getting all this funding for stuff and then nothing is really happening. I mean, yeah, there are some people that are getting helped, but not as much as you would like to see.
Right. I mean, you see that with with California, Gavin Newsom. He sits there, saying that, we've got this set up, and the entire time the money is just disappearing. I mean, we saw the exact same thing happen with the whole Palisades fires. He refused to turn on the water, or he wouldn't accept the government help to get the water flowing, and just the government had to step in and turn the water on. The budgetary issues. The budget was there, but the funds weren't for some reason. Like as if the funds were, getting put into places they shouldn't have been put into, or maybe under some shadow organization. I don't know. I'm just making crazy hypotheses off the top of my head.
Well, isn't where all those fires happened, where all those new cities were going to pop up, or the tram rail system that they were originally wanting to build?
You know what? That's an interesting question. I don't think it was the tram rail, but now Newsom has gone and approved affordable housing to be built at the same property where all of those houses burnt down. And it's very coincidental that all of the permits that people were pushing for to try and rebuild their homes, all those permits were getting stalled. So, there's some pretty questionable stuff that's taking place there, most definitely.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail you. Get it from the tram thing? Derail?
Yeah, I get it.
I swear this is just sweet tea.
Yeah. Aside from the 2 whiskeys you had before that.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a whole political piece of everything that's going on. Charlie Kirk assassination, that's one thing. I will say, I hate for anybody, regardless of what side they're on, the right or the left. I hate for anybody to, be assassinated, lose their life, especially, a family man, with young kids. Hate to see that happen to anybody, but it has brought to light quite a few of like people's true colors. Never, well, I mean, it's happened previously, but never has it been so mainstream that the Democratic Party, the left, has had to sit there and essentially defend a serial killer. And that's, well, not a serial killer, an assassin. And that's what they've basically done by not, coming out and saying, we are completely against this. I mean, it was just today, there were like 56 or 58 Democrats voted no on a resolution honoring Charlie Kirk. It's absolutely crazy. And
there was 4 Republicans, I believe.
Oh, there were 4 Republicans as well.
That jumped over.
And that makes no sense. Why wouldn't you just go ahead and put it out there that we are against this? We are against political violence, period. And here you've like right here, we've got AOC sitting here talking about things, and she's talking nonsense. Some of the things that come out of her mouth are just absolute nonsense. Let's listen to it real quick. We'll back it up real quick. Yeah, so just absolutely crazy there. I mean, she's talking about the government trying to weaponize his death against free speech. And at one point, it's not in this clip. At one point, she does actually, refer to him being a bigot and racist,
which is crazy.
It's absolutely ridiculous. This man, and I would actually challenge her if I was in Congress or in a if I held a platform where I could actually challenge her. I would ask her specifically, show me a video of him saying something racist. Show me a video of him saying something bigoted.
Well, and what they would do is they would show you the 10-second clip that gets cut out of a certain situation that he's talking about.
Right.
But then they don't look at the whole overview to get the context of it. They just see what they want.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing they did with Trump and the whole very fine people hoax. He's literally talking about, he was literally talking about that there were very fine people on both sides of the aisle. But the context of that conversation when he was saying that was about, statues that were up in that memorial garden. He's talking there are very fine people on both sides of the issue. They're talking about this memorial, and he's on both sides of the fence. And the media goes and completely flips it around and says that he's supporting Nazis. What type of craziness do people really believe? I mean, it's just a small iota of research, a little bit of personal research, a little bit of personal accountability. Anybody could have gone and done the research themselves, watched the full video clip, and seen that the media had completely twisted the entire thing. And here you have members of Congress doing it. They did it with Kash Patel. It was like 2-3 days ago while Kash Patel was actually, testifying on the hearing, up on the Hill. They went and twisted words around, and Kash Patel was just calling them out left and right. I mean, it was a slaughter. Like, I give full props to Kash Patel. He was just laying the smackdown on them left and right. Phenomenal, actually testimony from Kash Patel. So we see it all the time. We're seeing the political polarization. We're seeing, now we're starting to see some of the infighting taking place. Now, Kev went and mentioned that there were 4 Republicans that jumped over with that whole resolution to honor Charlie Kirk. Why Republicans would be jumping over, it doesn't make any sense. But I can pretty much say more than likely Swalwell was one of them. He's just, I don't know how he got voted into office in the first place. Yeah. That ear is bothering you, ain't it, Kev? I'm surprised the blood coming out of your eyes isn't bothering you more, quite honestly.
Those are my tears that I shed.
Those are your tears?
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see what else is out there. Oh, God. This stuff going on with immigration and ICE. We're kind of jumping all over the place, but this one video I actually just saw it today. Let's just do a search for ICE. There was one where this Democrat at I believe it was a Congresswoman. Yeah, here she is. Yeah, liberals now demanding immediate termination of this federal agent who threw congressional candidate Kat I don't know what phlegm-sounding name that is, to the ground after she tried to blockade ICE vehicles in Illinois. I say we promote him and give him a raise. Yeah, I'm all for that. I've seen plenty of people sit there and say that this is, police brutality, that this was unnecessary roughness, just a whole bunch of ridiculous. You're only seeing this part of the video. If you go and find the full video, you'll see that this woman was clearly obstructing federal law enforcement from doing their job. That is against the law. You cannot sit there and obstruct a federal officer from doing their job. You will get arrested, you'll get thrown on the ground, whatever it takes. But they are going to do their job. And this was a congressional candidate that felt that she just needed to do it. And it kills me, the hypocrisy that we see left and right. You got hypocrisy. Here's a case in point. No one is above Joe Biden. No one is above the law. Pritzker, no one should be above the law. Mark Hamill, no one is above the law. It's ridiculous. Yeah. The FBI couldn't find who brought the cocaine into the White House. I got news for you. Exactly.
Yeah. Even I could snort that.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. And quite frankly, I'm not saying the FBI wouldn't be able to figure it out. The Biden DOJ basically put that fire out before they could find out who brought it in. And probably the Biden Secret Service too. Since there were so many issues related to the Secret Service at that administration, especially when it came to the protection of any presidential candidates that were, going to be running at the time. We see a lot of stuff out there. Excuse me. Let's see, we talked about the Charlie Kirk stuff. We talked about the political polarization. I got to flip back to the political polarization. Jasmine Crockett, I can't stand this bitch. I have never seen somebody so uneducated, so much. I'm going to say it. People are going to be commenting on this. They're going to be giving their feedback that they don't like it. But she's a damn hood rat. She is another level of ghetto like I've never seen. And she gets in, she's on Capitol Hill, she's in Congress, and she's talking like she literally just stepped right out of the hood.
That's just my baby daddy. Who that is? That's just my baby daddy.
Yeah. And for people that haven't been keeping up with the news, she's officially losing her seat since Texas has gone and done their redistricting. So she'll be losing her seat come 2026, which I'm more than happy for because she doesn't need to be in Congress. Just based on how she talks, how she acts, some of the absolute ridiculous posts that she's put up, I would say that she probably needs to be flipping burgers somewhere. Let's see. Let's actually find her profile here.
And I get it. Like, I would much rather have normal, everyday citizens being the ones that help, but have some common sense, man.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, that's an interesting point. I mean, it's a great point, actually. Term limits.
Yeah.
We need term limits so bad for everybody in Congress, everybody that's in, the Senate. You've got term limits in place for the President of the United States.
Yeah.
Term limits needs to be in place for everyone in government. At a certain point, the corruption just seeps through, and you have to do something about it. You have to. And term limits, I think, is kind of the only way that you're going to be able to truly do it. Especially when you see like the corruption that is all the way up to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi and all her stock trading and her husband's stock trading, absolutely ridiculous. There's no way that anybody in Congress should be a millionaire after just a couple years of being in Congress. Their salary is like $120,000. It's not that much money. They should not be millionaires. just because they, did some good stock trading. That's bullshit.
That's just like the one time that they all had a meeting, then they left that meeting to go, let's go buy some stock.
Yeah, literally, they probably walk out of some committee meetings and they're texting their significant other or whoever it is that they've got, managing their stock portfolio and saying, hey, go ahead and buy this much stock in this company. I mean, Jasmine Crockett, just full of it.
I wonder if they use Robinhood because they steal from the poor to give to the rich.
Oh, really? That'll be one of our... That'll be one of our sponsors here for it. It'll be Robinhood. I don't think that'll work.
But you saw what I did. I flipped it. Instead of Robinhood stealing from the rich and giving to the poor.
Very astute of you. Oh, dear Lord. Yeah.
Oh, man. What about that Mayor Tiffany?
Mayor Tiffany?
Oh, man. Tiffany. Man, I'm sorry, because I know this is going to get you off track.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
She's the mayor of some... God. Tiffany Lanier, maybe? I can't see shit out of this thing. Look up Tiffany Mayer controversy.
Tiffany Mayer controversy.
Yeah. Pull it up on the screen so I can see it too. Because not only can I not type, I can't see shit out of this thing.
I told you that mask may be a problem.
Oh, yeah, that's her. What's her name? Tiffany?
Tiffany Henyard?
Yeah. Oh, man. If you want to read some good stuff, man, that lady
will fight at a township.
She is a crook.
At a township meeting.
She bumped up her mayor pay to like $200,000 and then made some statute or some ruling that it would only stay that certain point as long as she was the mayor, and then if anybody beat her, it would go back to the regular mayor salary. Like if you got 10 minutes, just search her up, man. It will blow your mind, the corruption, and she's just like that other chick, the Jasmine Crockett. She was probably in that 3-6 Mafia video. Ass and titties, ass and titties, ass and titties, big booty bitches. God, it's been so long since I heard that song.
Yeah, same here.
Well, you just heard it again.
You know what? This lady, I've actually seen this story, and I agree with you. It's ridiculous, and that just goes on to say, the level of not just the political polarization, but the political corruption that, quite frankly, and I'm going to say it. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be like, no, that's not true. I'm going to say it. You probably wouldn't be seeing all this political corruption coming to light if it was not because the Trump administration is in office. The first time around, Trump went in there. He was taking advice from all these people that were in the game. They were all politicians. He was listening to them. He was, kind of taking their word, their word as, gospel pretty much. And we saw what happened there. He had a bunch of people that were basically working against him in his last administration. He had a bunch of people that were, doing underhanded shit. He had people that were leaking information to the media. It was just ridiculous. It was all over the place. Now he's come in there and he's essentially has not listened to anybody's opinion. He's put the people that he wants in those positions, And oddly enough, the people that are in those positions are people that were being picked on by the prior government, the prior administration. You've got Kash Patel in there. You've got his DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, in there. She was just hounded. Same thing with Kash Patel. He was hounded by the FBI and, congressmen. It was just left and right. He's put all these people in there that were literally attacked by the prior administration through their DOJ, through Congress, whatever means necessary, people that were swatted by the left. He's gone and taken all these steps, put them in positions of power. RFK, the entire Democratic Party pretty much denounced RFK. and he's in there. All these different departments, all these different government institutions that they've put in charge of, they're going in there and cleaning house, and they're rooting out the corruption. Now we need the corruption to be rooted out of Congress, and we need the corruption to be rooted out of the Senate. I think term limits, great way to do it. A lot of people, I know we have it here going on in Florida right now. We've literally got Doge, or a department of Doge, essentially going through Florida and finding the corruption and finding all the the misuse of funds, which they just did a complete audit. I believe it was Jacksonville. They just did a full-on audit of and found that it was, basically the citizens of Jacksonville have been overtaxed by several $1 million over the past 5 years. So we're finding all of this stuff that's coming to light, and I swear, if it was not for the Trump administration and just the right finally getting some momentum and I'm going to say it, growing a pair of balls and actually fighting back against so much of the craziness that the left has done over the past 8 years, 12 years. I mean, there's been some crazy stuff that's taken place, and we're pushing back. It's time to fight fire with fire. We saw it a few minutes ago with some of the posts that I pulled up here, where you've got, the Democrats saying one thing 4 years ago, and now they're saying something completely different because it doesn't suit the narrative. It doesn't meet their narrative, and they want to continue pushing these crazy stories. So, Kev, you got anything else you want to say on that?
No, I'm good, man. I'm just listening.
Man, I don't like being over here ranting.
I'm good, man.
All right. Going along with all of this, you got immigration. A lot of this is stemming from immigration. The left is just pushing back. They want their voters. And people, if you have not paid attention to what's going on, essentially it boils down to the left loves immigration because a lot of the immigrants are voting to the left. That's part of why they wanted to do, they have all this redistricting. Blah, blah. Clearly my whiskeys are kicking in. All this redistricting. Blah, blah. I'm going to pass on that at this point. We've got all this that's taken place over the past few years. And they're pushing back on us trying to change the mapping, trying to get rid of all the gerrymandering that's taken place. And a lot of it is because of the immigration. They see us cracking down on the immigration and actually stopping people at the border and kicking out these violent criminal immigrants. And they don't want that, that gerrymandering to be changed. They want their edge. Frankly, if it wasn't for the whole mail-in ballots, we probably would not have had Joe Biden in 2020. And I would have been so happy if Joe Biden had not been put into office in 2020, because things just changed drastically. But I do have to give credit where credit is due. If Joe Biden had not been put in office in 2020, I'm pretty sure Donald Trump would not have had this aha moment where he saw how rigged and just overall, just politically one-sided all of DC was. I think he knew a little bit out of it, a little bit of how DC worked when he first went up there, but he probably didn't know how much he was going to be stabbed in the back until after that first term. After that first term, he saw how much he was being stabbed in the back, and he came in there. He probably did the next 4 years of Biden being in office. He was probably sitting there game planning on how he would go about approaching the entire scenario if he got in for a second term. So a lot of stuff has happened there. Gun violence. The gun violence has been driven off of all this, politicization, the Charlie Kirk assassination. That's a lot of what I'm seeing on Twitter, X. A lot of what I'm seeing on there is people pushing, throwing these just hypocritical statements out there saying, the right, cares so much about their guns, and then Charlie gets killed with a gun. Then also, basically trying to deflate his whole assassination, saying that he advocated for guns. He said he would be willing to die for guns so that we could have our Second Amendment rights.
Gun violence is completely different than an assassination.
Completely.
And that's what the people are failing to see.
well, I mean, it's a scare tactic.
Yeah.
That's literally all it is a scare tactic. The more they can scare people, the more they can try and push this whole in the Second Amendment narrative, which is right down the path of socialism.
And it's so crazy because isn't that campus a gun-free zone?
I believe all campuses and schools are gun-free zones.
Say it ain't so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like over in the UK. Now, they're not allowed to have guns over there, but their knife and just beating violence, crime statistics are through the roof. Through the roof. Especially their immigration crime stats. And it's, the immigration crime stats crack me up because people will get, arrested and then released the same day because they're an immigrant. Makes no damn sense. Zero.
At what point do they let someone off for beating and it be considered beating off?
Wow, we went there, really? Well, I mean, it's horrible. I mean, it's a little bit of satire, but it's horrible that we look at it that way because a lot of the stuff that's happening over in the UK, you've got immigrants that are actually raping people, like raping women, and then they get off. Get off of the charges. Don't try and twist that on me.
Your Honor, here we have...
Zick-ka-thunk. No. Yeah. So you've got a lot of violence going on out there. The UK, their violence is primarily knife and baseball bats, and crowbars, and everything else. If they were allowed to have guns, there would be gun violence. But even though guns are illegal there is still gun violence there. You can't get away from it. The Democrats that are sitting there saying that, Illinois, prime example. Governor of Illinois saying there's gun violence in Chicago because the surrounding states, gun laws allow it. But when, they actually catch somebody that is committing gun violence in Chicago, they check the serial number of that gun. Yeah, it wasn't bought in one of the surrounding states.
So you mean to tell me people come into Chicago every night and kill, and then they go back to the surrounding states?
And that's the type of BS story they try and pass along. Yeah.
That'd be crazy. That's a lot of driving.
That's a lot of driving, and it's just it's a lot of BS in general, is what it is.
So that's what they expect us to believe.
Well, I mean, they throw outlandish things out there, expecting to get some type of emotional response from people, and that's what they're playing on. They're literally playing on people's emotions constantly. It's like Jasmine Crockett. I mean, she's constantly saying ridiculous things, and every time she goes and says some ridiculous thing, it's literally just to try and play on people's emotions. But she's so fucking illiterate when she's saying this stuff. She sounds like such a hood rat when she's saying this thing. Maybe like a very small percentage of her followers actually takes her seriously. But I don't see how anybody, through all seriousness, could take anything that she says with even a slight grain of salt. I mean, she's just out of the things that she says, just completely outlandish. And it's ridiculous because she's actually on several committees. How do you put this person that's completely uneducated, talks like she's ghetto trash, cannot articulate her thoughts, worth a damn? How do you put her on a committee that is literally going to be helping either change laws or manage laws, or whether it's a committee for overall finances, expenditure committees, top secret defense committees? How do you put this person on it?
Is that one of those DEI things?
You know what? It may actually be. There may be some law in there that says they're going to have some DEI stuff. I hope to God they have not put that through Congress. She just, I will say her name is actually rather fitting. I mean, her name is Jasmine Crockett, but I mean she's
what a crock of shit.
Yeah, literally, she is just a crock full of shit. Now she goes in these committee meetings with her fucking yak hair weaves and covered in cocoa butter oil. I mean, I just can't. I can't. She's absolutely ridiculous. She goes in there with her fake eyelashes, thinking that she's hot shit, sitting there flipping her eyelids constantly, like she's just trying to bat away all her own bad ideas. It's ridiculous. So I'm all for term limits. I'm all for now even if they start impeaching some of these congressmen, and senators, if they start impeaching some of them, all for. Same thing with some of these crazy ass judges. How the hell does a judge go and release somebody that's been arrested? What was it, like 14 times? The one that stabbed the Ukrainian girl in the neck? For those that don't know, we're in Central Florida. You fuck around in Central Florida, you're going to find out. You got, Sheriff Grady Judd. When a reporter asked him, why'd you shoot him that many times? Because we ran out of bullets. That's his fucking response. Okay. You got Billy Woods, chopper cops. Fucking, so Grady Judd, he's like Polk County, I think. And then Billy Woods, I think, is Marion County. So, I mean, two sheriffs that are on top of their shit nonstop. You got another sheriff up in Jacksonville who's just a complete badass. Arresting people just no mercy from an arresting standpoint. Now you fuck around and find out in Florida, you're going to be paying the price, and that's going to be jail and prison time. You're not going to get out anytime soon. But how Chicago and New York and all these other places are doing, it's just ridiculous. So you got the gun violence. All these places are, all these politicians are trying to do a specific angle on the gun violence. I get it. That's their side. That's their point of view. They're just trying to twist it any way they can. But we have to err on the common side of man. And the common side of man is, what our Constitution is. Our Constitution, you got, Amendment 1, freedom of speech. Notice the wording, freedom of speech. Doesn't mean you can get away with saying whatever the fuck you think you can say, like Jimmy Kimmel did here the other night on his talk show. Where he basically lied, point blank. But it is freedom of speech. Doesn't mean you're not going to get fired for what you want to say. It means you're not going to get put in jail or be put in prison for your freedom of speech. But you can still get fired for it.
Yeah, because you got to understand, you're still representing a company that you're working for. Now, you can say whatever you want personally outside of that time, but even then you have to be careful as far as for being tied to a certain entity.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, Jimmy Kimmel's a prime example. Stephen Colbert is another prime example. You're in a position to help make the company money, whether it's ABC, NBC, CNBC, any of them. You are there to help make them money. For talk show hosts and like podcasters, etc., it's advertisement. You get more advertisers, the more money you make. If you don't have the viewership to make your advertisers some money, though, to where it's actually worth the investment of them, sending you advertising funds, then they're not going to want anything to do with you. For Jimmy Kimmel to go and say just a full-on outright lie like he did, he shot himself in his own foot. That's just how that went. Now, he went and said something that was ridiculous. The advertisers, Westar, already raised concerns about it to ABC. ABC said, nope, we're cutting it. We're done. There was some stuff going on with the FCC, too, with some merger stuff that they had going on. But first and foremost, Jimmy Kimmel wasn't making money. And then he went and said something stupid, and he refused to apologize about it.
And the funny thing is a lot of the Kimmel supporters, the young ones, if they would have seen what Kimmel was doing not only 10, 15 years ago on The Man Show, would they still support him?
That's a good point.
But Trump is such a bad guy. That's all I'm going to say to that.
That's a great point. I mean,
the hypocrisy.
Just such a whole nother level of hypocrisy. Whole nother level. Man shoe. Really? You can't spell worse shit, dude.
Did you just say man shot? Was that on Hamster?
Yeah. I was trying to do a search on YouTube for the Man Show. just to give somebody a quick clip of the type of craziness they.
Yeah, we don't want to show that video of the man shot.
Yeah, no, but here's the all-time one here. Let me actually put it on. Oh, look at the nice little advertisement. How nice. Where's my mouse? That's. Is it not letting me?
They're censoring us.
They must be. Come on, let me share again. No,
I'm a sexy pig.
Big sexy over there.
It's our biggest event yet.
All right. Yeah. The Man Show. If people actually knew some of the stuff that he did, I mean, here he is doing blackface. How many people got canceled for doing this? And here's Jimmy Kimmel doing blackface, acting like he's Karl Malone.
We don't TV how white people get dumping hot alleys, sticking all kind of yellow thing. Hold on there for no flying toss to himself. But if he that's what else. You put you time. That's what Homegrown say. Go bring Dr. Step up and give 100% and keep it in little green bag this year first. Because this will sing something up going on, but that's not well, that ain't gonna be no good time for nobody. Especially Carmelo, but that's enough. It's held back.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jimmy Kimmel doing Karl Malone there. They don't have it on there. I guess a lot of the old Man Show clips got deleted, but
Oh, I wonder why.
yeah, probably from people, sitting there complaining about them, reporting them. Well, literally, the Man Show, the intro was a bunch of girls jumping on a fucking trampoline wearing short skirts and low-cut blouses. Like,
Oh yeah, there's one video I saw today where he came up behind a woman, she was looking away, and he goes down, acts like he's eating her ass, and then grabbing her butt.
yeah,
But yet they still support him, but they say that the other is a horrible person.
yeah,
It's crazy.
it's a whole nother level of hypocrisy, and it's so sad that this day and age, it's only after the country becomes severely divided from a politics standpoint, and then everything completely flips back the way it was. Everything comes to light. You start to see all the politicians start to show their true colors, and you start to see just how corrupt and just how absolutely inept, 60-70% of the politicians that are currently in office truly are. And then you've got, people like Jimmy Kimmel that go and, they're being politicized. The media organizations being politicized. And then, Jimmy Kimmel, of course, trying to be political, and it backfired on him. Just like, all these school teachers where it's backfired on them, all these people that are getting fired after saying this horrific things about Charlie Kirk, trying to say that he had it coming. I just don't know how people can go home and actually live with themselves with some of the stuff that's out there. Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are wrapping up here. It has been our first episode. I'd like to... No, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. It is our first episode of the Blunt Rectum. Now, we've laughed a little bit. We've cringed. I've actually cringed a little bit more than anybody else. And hopefully we've left you thinking twice about that next trip to the bathroom. Huge thanks to all you brave souls who actually tuned in for our little debut episode. Without you, well, we'd just be two weirdos talking to the void, which we kind of are, especially this one.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed the chaos, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Rate us 5 stars unless you're a vegetarian. Then maybe 4. I don't know, but follow us on X for behind-the-scenes snorts and updates.
Exactly, Kevin. We've got more blunt truths and rectal revelations coming your way next time. We'll be sure, like you said, this was the inaugural episode, so still working out the kinks, figuring things out. But until then, everybody, stay regular, stay real, and remember, Life's too short to hold it in. I'm Lance.
And I'm that big, sexy pig mask provocateur.
Signing off from the Blunt Rectum. We will see you soon. Have a good one.
This has been the Blunt Rectum Podcast. Now you say it. The Blunt Rectum Podcast. So now our ass has been in all of your mouths. We'll give you a moment. Look, it's easy to understand. We're off our rockers. Absolutely. But we have opinions. Really, more importantly, we're off our rockers and we just want to make you laugh. So we hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And if you didn't like the show and you made it this far, who's the idiot? Find us on Twitter at The Blunt Rectum and search for The Blunt Rectum on Facebook. We'll be back soon. In the meantime, tell your mom we apologize for shaving her back when she was asleep. We just couldn't take it anymore. See you next time on The Blunt Rectum.